Marvel is one of the biggest comic book franchises in the world, so it comes as no surprise that Horikoshi, the creator of My Hero Academia, is a huge fan of Marvel and its superheroes, with Horikoshi and his own superhero franchise creating tons of references to the Marvel universe. So for today's video, we'll be looking at 10 Marvel Easter eggs and references that are in My Hero Academia that you might have missed throughout the series, and I'm sure you won't believe the number one reference on this list. But to start things off at number 10, Marvel exists in the My Hero Academia universe. Yeah, you heard me correctly. Marvel technically exists within the My Hero Academia universe. In the first ever chapter of My Hero Academia, we see the silhouettes of iconic superheroes from different franchises, as Deku narrates that because of quirks, the world had become something like a comic book, turning fantasy into reality. Here we see Superman, Spider-Man, Wolverine, Ultraman, Kamen Rider, plus other notable Japanese superheroes. For copyright reasons, they all show up as silhouettes, but this hints at the fact that these characters technically exist, but as comics and other types of media before quirks turned the fantasy of being a superhero into reality in the world of My Hero Academia. At number 9, we have Wolverine and Cyclops. Now, this reference can only be found in the My Hero Academia spin-off prequel series Vigilantes, which finally got an anime. But in Vigilantes, we are introduced to two middle school students named Jubei Nabemaru and Ichimoku Samazu, who share a shocking resemblance to that of Wolverine and Cyclops. Funny enough, Ichimoku's last name, Samazu, is meant to sound like Summers, which is a reference to Cyclops' real name, Scott Summers. Not only that, but the pair's quirks are also a funny nod to both of these X-Men's mutant abilities. Jubei's quirk gives him the ability to have wooden swords come out of his hands, this being a reference to Wolverine's claws. And he even wears a hat with the X symbol on it, of course referring to the X-Men. Ichimoku's quirk allows him to shoot beams from his eyes, just like Cyclops, and he even has a visor that was a clear inspiration from the leader of the X-Men as well. Now, you would think that that's all there is to these characters that reference Wolverine and Cyclops, but they even have this little rivalry, as well as having this sort of love triangle with one of the main protagonists, Popstep, that makes fun of Wolverine and Cyclops' complicated friendship and relationship with Jean Grey. At number 8, Deadpool. It's no secret that the League of Villains Twice is clearly inspired by Deadpool. Twice's costume design and his overall mannerisms being homages to Deadpool's costume, humor, and fourth wall breaks. Moving on to number 7 is another X-Men reference to Beast. Class B's Jurota Shishida, aka Jevudan, is a hero with a mutant type quirk called Beast, which is not only just a reference to Beast from the X-Men, but his appearance is also very similar to Beast in the way he dresses formal when in his civilian clothes, along with his glasses and of course his beastly appearance given to him by his quirk, all being a homage to Beast from the X-Men. At number 6, we have Iron Man 2. In My Hero Academia Season 3, when Deku goes to the support course for a support item that can reduce the strain on his arms when he uses One For All, Mei Hatsume uncomfortably touches Deku's body, analyzing him, and proceeds to stuff him in a power suit she created that can read muscle contractions and support his movements. Upon powering on the suit, it begins to malfunction, with the top half twisting, almost breaking Deku's spine. Mei's power suit here being a fun Easter egg to the prototype battlesuit developed by Justin Hammer that is seen in the beginning of Iron Man 2. Hammer's attempt at creating an Iron Man suit accidentally twists its top half a full 180 degrees, most likely killing the pilot who was in the suit, though Hammer does claim that the pilot actually recovered from the accident. So it's a good thing that Mei shut down the suit before it completely forced Deku into fighting backwards. Continuing down the list, we have number 5, Ultimate Spider-Man. Regarded as one of the best Spider-Man runs in Marvel, Ultimate Spider-Man is referenced in the manga for My Hero Academia's 9th volume. Horikoshi pays homage to the Marvel Premiere Edition for the Ultimate Spider-Man Venom cover that featured Venom and Spider-Man fighting on the cover, by having Muscular and Deku fighting in similar positions to that of Spider-Man and Venom for the cover of My Hero Academia Volume 9. Coming in at number 4, Sandman. In the anime's 4th season, at the end of the Shiei Hasaikai arc, we are introduced to a brand new pro hero, Sand Hero Snatch, as he protects the police convoy escorting Overhaul to the hospital. Unfortunately for Snatch, in his first appearance, appearance, he goes against the League of Villains as they attempt to get revenge on Overhaul. Despite his Sandstorm quirk being the perfect counter to Shigaraki's decay, his quirk can only turn the top half of his body into sand. Snatch gets engulfed by Dabi's flames and is then compressed into a ball along with the flames by Mr. Compress and is killed due to the flames getting the parts of his body unable to turn into sand. Snatch, despite being a hero, was meant to be a homage to the Spider-Man villain Sandman. His sand quirk and costume's color scheme being a green striped vest, all referencing the Sandman's abilities, and green striped shirt. At number 3 we have Dr. Octopus, in a direct reference to one of Spider-Man's greatest foes, Dr. Octopus, at the end of the Culture Festival arc in chapter 183 during May's presentation. In the background you can spot what looks to be a pair of mechanical tentacle arms just hanging on a wall. Knowing that Horikoshi loves Marvel and is a huge fan of Spider-Man specifically, this is a clear reference to the Marvel character and Spider-Man villain Dr. Otto Octavius, aka Dr. Octopus. It's no surprise that one of Spider-Man's most infamous villains has a neat Easter egg that can only be found in the manga. But this isn't the only reference to the octopus themed Marvel villain. At the end of season 7 we see a quirkless All Might in an armored suit once again taking on his greatest foe, All For One. During their fight, it's clear that armored All Might's suit attachments and attacks are references to the heroes of Class 1A. But not only does the tentacle attachment relate to Tentacle and his quirk, the design of the tentacle arm attachment acts as a deep cut homage to the Spider-Man villain Dr. Octopus and his mechanical arms. Speaking of armored All Might, at number 2 we have Iron Man. Prior to the start of Armored All Might vs. All For One, All Might arrives in his car Hercules and waits for All For One to arrive while holding a suitcase. Once All For One sees All Might's suitcase begins to form a suit around his body and he becomes Armored All Might. The suit itself is a massive Easter egg to the Marvel Cinematic Universe's Iron Man, with the briefcase and suit being inspired by Iron Man's Mark V suit in Iron Man 2, where Tony Stark is seen carrying a briefcase around that would later be used to transform itself into a full-body Iron Man suit around Tony Stark. Around the time the suit first began to form around All Might in chapter 386, Horikoshi had stated that the Mark V was his favorite Iron Man suit. The armored All Might suit sports a power source like arc reactor at the center of his chest, similar to the many Iron Man armors. The Hercules AI in the suit uses Melissa Shields' voice, essentially making Hercules the Jarvis of the My Hero Academia universe, with the Hercules AI giving All Might updates on his suit's conditions and sending out attacks that All Might calls out for, just like Jarvis does for Iron Man throughout his many battles. Luckily, All Might's armored suit also contains some sort of nanotech where it can repair damaged sections of the suit, similar to Iron Man's nanosuit, where the nanotech would repair damaged sections of the suit, making them brand new while leaving certain parts of his body unprotected. For some honorable mentions before we get into the number 1 spot, we have actually had a few official Marvel and My Hero Academia collaborations and crossovers, such as the MCU Avengers Infinity War x My Hero Academia collab that saw Class 1A taking the places of the Avengers for the Infinity War key visual. In the Deadpool Samurai manga, All Might crosses over and teams up with Deadpool and defeats Thanos with a single Detroit smash. And most recently, to promote Captain America Brave New World, the MCU collabed with My Hero Academia once again in a special tag team project showcasing special visuals of the two winged heroes, Hawks and Captain America, fighting alongside each other to promote both the final season of My Hero Academia and Captain America Brave New World. The special promotional video for this collab even has Hawks' voice actor Yuichi Nakamura providing the Japanese dub voice for Steve Rogers' Captain America. Now finally, at number 1 we have Spider-Man and Deku. Since the beginning of My Hero Academia, it was clear that Izuku Midoriya was influenced by Peter Parker. Just like Peter, Izuku was powerless, down on his luck, bullied, and just your average everyday person who occasionally geeks out over their respective world's greatest hero. But just like how Peter would eventually get bit by a radioactive spider, giving him great power and great responsibility, becoming New York's friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, Deku receives the great power of One for All by his hero All Might, along with the great responsibility of using his power in service of others and to defeat All for One. Both characters become great heroes who can change the hearts of others, inspiring them to do good. Besides being a complete homage to Spider-Man, some of the quirks that Deku is able to use from One for All are references to Spider-Man's abilities. Black Whip and the way Deku uses it to bind and capture villains, save civilians, and even using Black Whip to swing off of buildings and objects is extremely similar to Spider-Man's web shooters that allow Spider-Man to restrain villains, save civilians, and help Spider-Man maneuver through New York City. Another one of Deku's quirks is Danger Sense. This gives Deku the ability to detect potential threats around him, thus giving him the opportunity to react to that potential danger, which Danger Sense by all means functions exactly like Spider-Man's Spider Sense. With Horikoshi seeing Spider-Man as the definition of what it means to be a hero, as a big Deku and Spider-Man fan, Deku lives up to this in every way. And that was 10 Marvel Easter eggs and references that are in My Hero Academia that you might have missed throughout the series. Let me know in the comment section below what your favorite Marvel Easter egg and references were in My Hero Academia. Let me know everything in the comment section below. If you enjoyed the video, then be sure to Detroit smash that like button, and if you are new to the Kitoroki channel, then be sure to subscribe with notifications on so that you don't miss any My Hero Academia and My Hero Academia Vigilantes content. And I'll see you all in the next one.